Hi everyone, I'm Ilan Cherno here with the Ayn Rand Institute. I'm joined today by my colleague Steve Simpson.
Hi.
Hey Steve. Steve is our Director of Legal Studies here at the Institute, and he works on one of the issues that I think of as really mission critical for the Institute. That's free speech.
Yeah.
I should mention Steve is the author of this excellent book, Defending Free Speech. If you haven't heard about it, go check it out on our website. So I want to talk to you today, Steve, because you're going to be at Harvard next week and doing an event with Brett Weinstein and Dave Rubin. So who are those guys and what's the event about?
Yeah, so Dave Rubin is the creator and the host of the Rubin Report. Hopefully lots of you guys have seen the Rubin Report. It's a terrific talk show on YouTube, so everybody should know about it and check it out. I think Dave is one of the best talk show hosts going today, and he's also a great guy. We've been doing a number of free speech events with Dave through the course of last spring and over the summer. This is the latest one at Harvard with Brett Weinstein. Brett is the guy who was at the center of a controversy that I hope many of you have heard about at Evergreen State University. He's a biology professor there who spoke out against a day of absence. There's a whole lot more that you can learn about this issue, in which people wanted to tell white people basically leave the campus, and he thought that was racist and a bad idea. He spoke out against it in a very, he's a very intelligent guy, very articulate, and he was attacked, pilloried, and students basically took over the campus. You can find much more about him on the web, but he's a really interesting guy, and so he's going to be joining us in this event next Tuesday. We've had a lot of other really interesting guests on these events. And basically the idea of these things is that we get together in front of mainly a student audience, and we just talk about the issues of the issue of free speech and a lot of the underlying issues that are relevant to it. We have other events coming up, which I know we're going to talk about, but I'll stop there. But definitely, it's next Tuesday, the 19th. So
I want to just go to the issue of free speech for a minute before, because there's one more event I want to talk about involving our colleague Ankar Gathe. Before we get to that one, so defending free speech. So one of the things I've heard people say is, why defend free speech? Right now, I'm attuned to this because I follow the news and I see every week there's some issue on campus, off campus. The president said something, and people are up in arms. So it's become a bigger and bigger issue. So what is distinctive about the kind of points you're going to make at this event?
So, our position basically, fundamentally, free speech is absolutely essential to a free society. But really, we don't think, and I definitely think this is true. I've been working in the area of free speech for decades now, before I came to ARI, and now since in the last 4 years, since I've been at ARI. The right of free speech is not well understood at all. People think they understand the right to free speech. People think the courts protect it in the way it's supposed to be protected. There's a lot wrong with that. Our distinctive view links free speech with freedom of thought, and really with the nature of what reason is all about and the role that reason plays in our lives. So the way I would put it is freedom of speech and freedom of thought, which is the underlying corollary kind of right or condition that we need as human beings, is part of what it means to live a good life. So speech is not just a right, it's a value that we have to protect for every individual in society to live a good life. So one of the reasons that I'm so concerned about this right is not just that it's important for a free society, but I am selfishly concerned about it because I want to live a good life. I want it to be protected for me and for everybody I care about, and by extension, all individuals in society. And that's really not how we're approaching it today. So that's kind of a thumbnail sketch, but there's much more. If you read my book, you'll find out much more about what we think about it. But,
so let's give people just a little taste of what the book covers. So you came to the Institute 4 years ago, as you said, but the Institute's been on this topic for a while. So tell me about the very first piece in
ARI has been involved in this issue, pretty much since ARI was founded, I think in 1985. Is that right? Yeah, so sorry, I don't know all the precisely, I should remember all this because I was actually a donor back then. But one of the very early things that people from ARI did was to become involved in the Salman Rushdie incident, which happened in 1989. And that's, of course, when the Ayatollah Khomeini issued a fatwa against Rushdie for writing a novel, basically, that allegedly offended Islam or Islamists. What's really significant about that, it's not that surprising that the Ayatollah issued the fatwa. What is really horrifying and surprising about it is that the American government and Western governments did pretty much nothing. In fact, if anything, they expressed a certain kind of sympathy for the fatwa so as not to offend Islamists and others who are angry about Rushdie's novel. You can trace, right? I mean, I think there's a direct line from the Rushdie affair through the Muhammad cartoons and that controversy in 2006. Fleming Rose, we've had in these events before. Great guy, on an Al-Qaeda hit list. Why? Because he was an editor of a newspaper in Denmark that published these cartoons, and the Charlie Hebdo attacks in 2015, and then others, the Garland attacks. So we were right there at the beginning. We were one of the only organizations and the only individuals who spoke out about the Rushdie issue, ran an ad in the New York Times speaking out about it. In 2006, when the Muhammad cartoons was, the whole controversy was going down, we did, I wasn't here at the time, but Your Honor, I think you were involved in some of these events, at least behind the scenes. Onkar was, others at ARI did events with Fleming Rose. We were one of the only organizations, probably the only organization, maybe one of a handful, that actually displayed the cartoons when none of the nation's newspapers were willing to display and show these cartoons that created this controversy and outrage over in Europe and then in the United States. We were out there showing the cartoons, speaking out in favor of free speech. Today, we tend to focus on controversies that are going on college campuses, things like what happened in Charlottesville, other things, all of which are appropriate to focus on. But we've got to connect all of the dots. We really have to understand that there is a long history of attacks on free speech, and that ARI has been on the front lines defending against or opposing those attacks and defending the right to free speech in a consistent way that really connects it to philosophical principles and to, as I said before, living a good life.
So we have one more event. You're not in it, but you've been sort of the driving force behind it. So tell us about that one. Yeah,
sure. So the other event is on October 19th at Clemson University in South Carolina. That will again involve Dave Rubin and Onkar Ghate, who's a senior fellow here at ARI. He'll be accompanying Dave, and Jordan Peterson will be the third guest in that. Jordan Peterson, many of you have heard of from the controversy that he sparked at the University of Toronto. He's a professor there of psychology, and he refused to comply with, it was either a directive or I think it's now law in Canada, that people use gender-neutral pronouns, or at least the pronouns that are preferred by the individual to whom one is speaking. And Peterson basically said, no, I'm not going to do that. He created this huge controversy. He was the center of many disputes on college campuses in Canada and here in the United States. Now he's something of a YouTube sensation. He's got his own channel. He's a very bright guy, very interesting guy. So he'll be at Clemson with Onkar. Another word about both Weinstein and Peterson, both really intelligent guys. I think they're both free speech heroes. But also guys that we disagree with in important ways. And so one of the things that I think will be neat about both of these events is that you're going to see a lot of disagreement. It'll be friendly disagreement. It'll be good discourse. But yeah, we are going to disagree with a lot of these people, and it'll be an opportunity to see differing points of view on this.
I mean, you're reminding me, this is an interesting sidelight on Dave Rubin as you got to know him and being on panels. My understanding is he came to this issue from sort of the left of the political spectrum, and now he's someone who's really committed to free speech, and he's had to walk away, and he's been attacked from that.
Yeah, definitely. No, he's been a comedian for a long time. He was on a TV show called The Young Turks. Then he had his own talk show, self-described progressive, started thinking that there was something wrong with a lot of the progressive ideas that he had taken for granted. And then particularly on the issue of free speech, he tells it that he saw the episode of Bill Maher's show where Sam Harris was attacked by Ben Affleck, and he started thinking there's something really wrong here, and he just followed that path. He had Yaron Brook, I don't know what Yaron is title anymore. He used to be our president. Now he's what our
executive chairman.
Executive chairman, there it is. But anyway, one of our chief intellectuals here. Most people know. He had Yaron on the show, and Yaron, I think, provided a lot of motivation for Dave to go off on his own. And now he's had Yaron on the show a number of times. Dave's a great guy, of course. Of course, we don't agree with everything on Dave either, but he's a terrific guy, really good at highlighting this issue, and just a great guy to talk to in these events.
So, okay, most people watching this on Facebook are not going to be close enough to Harvard to go, and they're not going to be close enough to Clemson. So what can they do?
So they can watch it on Livestream. We'll be live streaming both events through Dave Rubin's YouTube channel. You can basically do one of two things if you want to find out about this. Either go to the Rubin Report and check out, you'll see links and, or not links, but you can actually watch it on Dave's show, but you can find out information on his through his channel, or if you go to our Facebook page, which presumably this is actually being okay. So stay on this Facebook page, and you'll find an event link on this page, and the information for the live stream will be on there. Again, it's Tuesday the 19th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It'll be live streamed then, so watch it then if you want. If you can't watch it then, it'll run on Rubin's channel, and we'll ultimately have it on our own YouTube channel. Same thing on October 19th. I think that's 4:30 Eastern Time, but just check the Facebook page for both of those. If you can watch them, we'd love to have you.
Yeah, and you can follow Steve on Twitter. You are SS Free Speech.
At SS Free Speech, and of course follow the Rubin Report. He promotes these events and has information on them, and then follow ARI, and you'll get all of the information you need.
Okay, and one more tidbit. Yeah. So definitely I'm going to go watch the live stream for both of these events on my calendar. For students who are watching, one other thing we can tell you is that Dave Rubin, and I think you will be at the Ayn Rand Student Conference, Ayn Rand Con 2017, which takes place in Atlanta in November. Yeah. Information is on our website. So I think that's going to be a really exciting event, and it's a forum where I think Dave's strengths as he can hold a room in a way that very few people can. And your intellectual presentation and all the other scholars who are coming, I think it's going to be an amazing event.
Yeah, the ARACon is a great event. I love interacting with students. I think we get high quality students who are very interested in ideas and learning. It's one of my favorite events. And
it's free.
Yes.
you can apply to get a scholarship. And yeah, it's one of my favorite events of the year. So I hope all of you who qualify, you're a student, look up the information. We'll put links on this post on Facebook. So here are your action items, everybody. Take them down. Take a look at Steve's book, Defending Free Speech. It's an excellent presentation, and it gives you kind of the wide perspective of the Institute's view of the importance of free speech and how we defend it. The two events, the Clemson event and the upcoming Harvard event, those are going to be on live stream. You can watch them wherever you are in the world. You can stay up late if you're on the other side of the planet. I recommend it. And of course, Ayn Rand Con if you're a student. So sign up. Lots of stuff here. I think, and obviously, don't forget you can follow Steve on Twitter.
Yeah. Right.
So thanks for watching. I hope you'll join us on the live stream next week and the following week. And goodbye until next time.
Thanks.